Entrez.
Vous me demandiez?
Oui, mademoiselle. C'est demain un jour de congé pour vous.
Oui.
Et vous avez une longue fin de semaine.
En effet.
Ma femme et moi, nous allons faire une petite excursion dans la vallée de la Loire. Visiter quelques châteaux.
Voulez-vous venir avec nous? Cela nous ferait grand plaisir.
Et puis, il y a bien assez de place dans la voiture.
Oh, je veux bien. Quelle idée magnifique. Quand partez-vous?
Aussitôt que vous serez prête.
Qu'est-ce qu'il faut que j'emporte?
Oh, pas grand-chose. Seulement assez pour un petit voyage de 3 jours.
N'oubliez pas votre chandail et votre imperméable.
Est-ce qu'il va pleuvoir?
On ne sait jamais en cette saison.
Bien, je me dépêche.
Ah, les cartes. Grande route, vallée de la Loire, mon guide des châteaux. Très bien. Voyons, la voiture est prête. J'ai fait mettre de l'essence et de l'huile. J'ai mon argent.
Voici notre valise. Avez-vous l'appareil photographique?
Non, je l'ai laissé sur mon bureau.
Me voilà.
Déjà prête?
Bien sûr.
C'est vite fait.
Alors, mettons-nous en route.
Je vois bien que les châteaux sont la spécialité de la région de la Loire. Nous en avons vu je ne sais combien aujourd'hui. Et ils sont tous plus impressionnants et plus beaux les uns que les autres.
Chaumont, que vous voyez ici, est certainement un château très célèbre.
C'est son style médiéval qui me captive. Il a l'air d'un château fort. Est-il ouvert à cette heure-ci?
Quelle heure est-il?
Chez 1h20.
Allons demander des renseignements.
Pouvons-nous y entrer?
Non, pas encore. La concierge doit être sortie pour déjeuner. L'entrée est fermée. Mais voici une affiche. Ministère de l'Éducation nationale, Direction des Beaux-Arts, Monument historique, Château de Chaumont. Visite 9h à 11h45, 14h à 18h30.
14 heures, c'est 2 heures de l'après-midi. Et 18h30, c'est 6h30 du soir.
Oui?
Est-ce que dans tous les pays, on dit l'heure de 1h à 24 heures?
Non, mais c'est assez souvent la façon officielle de parler. Surtout pour les horaires de train, d'autobus, d'avion, etc.
Ah, voilà la concierge qui arrive. Bonjour monsieur, madame, mademoiselle. Pouvons-nous visiter le château? Oui madame, très bien. Mais pas tout de suite. Dans quelques minutes. Nous n'ouvrons qu'à 14 heures. Avez-vous un billet pour entrer?
Faut-il un billet?
Oui mademoiselle.
Madame peut nous en vendre pendant que nous attendons. N'est-ce pas, madame? Les billets sont à combien?
1 franc par personne. Ça fait 3 francs les 3 billets. Par ici, monsieur. Attendez au guichet.
Bien, madame.
Trois billets, ça fait 3 francs.
En attendant, pouvez-vous nous dire en quelques mots l'histoire du château?
Attendez que je consulte notre guide. Ce château a été construit au XIVe siècle. Il appartenait d'abord à Catherine de Médicis.
Vraiment?
Et ensuite à Diane de Poitiers. Voici un portrait de Diane de Poitiers.
Elle est belle.
Au XVIIIe siècle, le château de Chaumont appartenait à un monsieur Leray, un ami de Benjamin Franklin. Et je suis bien sûr que Benjamin Franklin y a passé quelque temps. Mais voyons, il est 2 heures, nous avons nos billets, nous pouvons passer.
Est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un pour nous faire visiter le château?
Oui, il y a un guide à la porte. Suivez l'allée, tout droit. Merci, madame.
Le parc est très beau.
Le gouvernement l'entretient en bon état. Les arbres sont magnifiques.
Est-ce que c'est là l'entrée du château?
Oui,
Mais la porte du château est fermée.
ce n'est pas la porte, c'est un pont-levis. Ils vont le baisser pour nous. Voyez,
Je trouve ça tout à fait impressionnant.
d'ici, vous pouvez voir la cour intérieure.
Passons-y tout de suite.
Regardez derrière vous. Voilà la porte par où nous sommes entrés.
La m'intrigue. Qu'est-ce que c'est?
C'est un porc-épic. C'est l'emblème du roi Louis XII.
Oh, regardez là. Les détails sont bien sculptés.
Oui, n'est-ce pas? Allons voir les appartements.
Our good friends in France who teach us lightly the French lessons. I think the impact of this would have been great for me when I was taking French in high school, because I don't remember any French. I remember the first day of the 2 years of French that I took, but I don't remember anything else. Hi, I'm Skip Alsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show. That was a French foreign language film. So we watch old 60mm films here at AV Geeks, and this next film is on the telecine, which is the machine that we use to transfer films from film to video. It basically what it does is covers the... I'm sorry, I'm distracted. Sorry. Basically what it does is it reduces the flicker. Like if you showed a film from a projector on a wall, it shows at 24 frames a second. Most cameras are 30 frames a second, and so what you see is a little kind of flicker. You see a flash. And so what this does is it actually is timed so that it flashes on the frame and then duplicates a couple of frames every second so that it works out. It's what we call a pull down. And the camera is aimed actually at the frame versus at a wall. So you get a crisper image, you get something that is better. The thing is, this machine allows me to run films that are a little bit shrunken. And what happens is the film begins to shrink, sprocket holes begin to shrink, and so if I ran it through a regular projector, you would just hear this because the sprockets are not mashing with the holes. You lose a loop, and then it's just a lot of noise, and it's miserable. This one is more elegant, but what happens is the film frame will roll because it's not meshing with the sprocketed wheel that determines where the frames are. So I have to hold my finger so that it makes better contact. Is it worth it? I don't know. But, this is what we do at avgeeks. It's we sacrifice our fingerprints so that we can bring you high-quality educational content. Thank you, William, for the coffee, because that will keep me going here. So here is Developing Your Personality, and this features a soon-to-be celebrity.
Hello, my name is Perry. My work is personnel counseling. We're going to talk about character. And to give you other points of view than just mine, we're going to bring others into the discussion. Let's meet Bill.
Hello. I have several questions I hope you can answer.
We'll try.
First, I'd like to know why character is important.
All right, Bill. Suppose now we meet Mrs. Carter. Let her begin to answer that question. Mrs. Carter, you've spent many years in social work. Why do you think character is important?
Well, I suppose I consider it important in two ways. You know, a person with good character is happier and usually more successful. Then, too, good character means better group living as well as better people. But you've had much experience along that line, Mr. Perry. Why do you consider character important? Or do you?
I most certainly do. You've all seen forms like this. This is the one our company uses for job applications. Now, none of the questions say, what is your character? But that's what we try to find out by asking all the other questions. The fact that we ask for character references indicates how important we think character is to job success. Here's another indication. These are cards on dismissal. Each card represents a man or woman who's lost a job with us in the last year. Just look at the reasons for dismissal. Irresponsible. Can't take criticism. Constantly discourteous. Petty thefts. Irresponsible. Poor work. Irresponsible. Notice how few dismissals there are for poor work. How many for poor character traits. This is pretty typical. Job success and good character go hand in hand. Well, Bill, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. I'll agree that character is important. But what is it?
What is character? It's a good question, Bill. One I expected. So I have a picture here of character. This is it. Now, this represents one idea of what character is. It is the way you behave. How you behave depends on the way you feel, the way you think, and the way you usually act. So we say your character is the way you feel, think, and act. Now, from all around us come influences. We can represent these influences this way. Your home, church, school, friends, and other things all influence the way you think, feel, and act. All influence your character. You see, character is as complicated as you are. That's mighty complicated. Well, does this help answer your question, Bill?
Yeah, it helps. Perhaps if you answer my next question, I'll get it even more clearly in mind. Now, do I control my character, or do these influences control it? Could Mrs. Carter answer that one?
Mrs. Carter?
Well, let me tell you about a particular street I know very well. I've studied it for many years. It's in one of the slum sections of our city. Whenever I see it, even after all these visits, I think what a terrible place it is for people to live. Children who grow up here are living under poor conditions. They're subject to bad influences. It seems such influences must make them into criminals or into social misfits. Well, I've followed the lives of many children who've grown up on this block. Several did become criminals. That's not surprising when you consider the conditions in which they grew up. But a few others have become highly respected citizens. For instance, one is a prominent doctor. He developed a strong and good character growing up under the very same conditions. So, I say it depends on how strong the influence and how strong the person. The conditions, influences around us, shape and change us. But we can largely determine if the change is toward a poorer or a better character.
That's a good answer. Now I've got another question. I'm full of them. How can you tell whether or not you have good character?
You have good character if your thoughts, feelings, and actions conform to high moral and ethical standards.
Let's see if I understand the answer, Mr. Perry.
Go ahead.
I have a good friend named Jim Blake. He's a swell fella. Let's see whether or not he has a good character. Take the other day. We were talking together. I'd tell Jim almost anything. Confide in him. He's someone you can trust. I guess you would say that that's conforming to moral or ethical standards. Of course, I'm not the only one who trusts Jim. He's the guy we always ask to hold money or watches. We know we can trust him. And another thing. He'll step in to settle a quarrel before it turns into a fight. He's kept his friends out of scrapes lots of times. And when he's with the girls, you can tell that he respects them and that they appreciate it. Well, all those things show that Jim sticks by high moral and ethical standards. I guess you'd call that good character, wouldn't you, Mr. Perry?
I would say so, Bill. Do you agree, Mrs. Carter?
I most certainly do.
More questions, Bill?
Yeah. Yes, one more. Can you improve your character? And if so, how?
Well, that, Bill, is a real problem. The answer is definitely yes. You can improve your character. How is more difficult. Mrs. Carter, can you help us on this one?
Well, Mr. Perry, let me explain by telling you a story about a boy I know. He was about 5 when the first incident happened. He was in a grocery store near a box of cookies. Very enticing cookies they were, too. Any 5-year-old would want one. Of course, the cookies didn't belong to him. His action did not conform to moral standards. But the first point I want to make is, the boy did not know what those standards were. He didn't know it was wrong to take the cookies. His first step toward good character came when he learned what the moral standard of honesty meant in this situation. The second incident took place nearly a week later. The same boy, the same store, and cookies. While he wanted to take a cookie, his mind told him he shouldn't. It's the old story of temptation, but in very simple terms. It's the story, I think, of character development, for the boy walked on past the cookies. A few days later, the third act took place. This time, although the cookies were very tempting, the boy's feeling, thinking, and actions were responding to his moral standard, his character. Yes, the boy's character was developing. I would say that this same process must take place in all of us. Do you see what I mean, Bill?
I think I do, Mrs. Carter. And I should be able to improve my character in the same way. Let's see, where would I start?
Start with some definite trait or habit in mind, Bill. Don't try to change your whole character all at once.
Well, I don't steal cookies. Here's something I should work on, though. I make excuses for myself. I try to avoid being blamed for the things that I do. So I'd like to work on that side of my character.
It may be hard work the first few times, but
Once I make it a habit, I'll feel right about it, too.
that's it. Now, suppose you review the process of improving character, Bill.
Well, first, know what you should or shouldn't do. And then, act on your standards, even if you don't feel like it. Then when acting right gets to be a habit, you'll feel right.
Do you agree, Mrs. Carter?
I should say I do.
More questions, Bill?
Not right now.
Well, what about you? What questions do you have about character? It's your discussion now.
Whew. So, there's the indentation on my finger and a little bit of the schmeck. So I got the title wrong. It was not developing your personality. It was developing your character. Should have known it. I had the actual program notes here. And the instruction, and these are very brittle, because I think that this helped contribute to the shrinking of the film, because this held moisture and then it caused, it stinks of vinegar actually. So the program notes have suggested activities, behind the scenes. It kind of talks about a background. This is, what a teacher could use to really use a film effectively. And that was the point, is that you don't just run this when the teacher's out and your substitute teacher. The idea is you're supposed to actually use this and then use it as part of your discussion, and you can spend an entire class period on this. There's suggested readings. Additional questions to discuss. How much truth is there in the statement so often quoted, "There, but for the grace of God go I," and grace is capitalized? Why will boys and girls in large groups do things, commit acts of vandalism, steal autos, etc., that individually they would not do? What does this have to do with character? Is the parent right who says it's so important who your friends are? To what extent? I say, is this one way to determine the influences on you that affect your character? So, there you go. This gives you context. And not every film comes with those. Some of them are actually pasted in the can, which is kind of interesting. All right. It's now time for a downer film. That one was so uplifting. Dick York. This one's about fire safety. It's The Condemned.
Today, 18 people are condemned to die. It could be your neighbor, your child, your wife, or even you. No jury will hear their case. No lawyer will plead their innocence. No judge will pass sentence. But 18 persons are doomed to die in the next 24 hours, to die in smoke and flames. Needlessly and without warning, they will die. Every single hour of the day and night, 63 homes are destroyed or damaged by fire in the United States. That's right, 63 homes every hour. Even more tragic is the fact that in these fires, every year, 6,500 people, 2,100 of them children, die. This man is a careful person. His tools are clean and sharp. He's able to fix a broken toy, furniture, or repair a part of his automobile. He's proud of his ability to make minor repairs and to recognize wear and tear on his equipment. But sometimes the obvious escapes him. That cigarette can be dangerous. A burning cigarette, a can of flammable liquid, create this disaster. It's another call for the fire department. Your fire department. Is it another tragedy or a minor blaze? Could this happen to you? It happened to him. It seems impossible that a cigarette and cleaning fluid could cause this fire, but it did. A home destroyed, one man dead. Flammable liquids must never be left in open containers, nor stored in glass bottles, only in approved safety cans. This is a free lesson for all of us to learn. This man paid with his life. Gee, finals tomorrow. Never pass if I don't cram. Will he take those finals? Little does he know, he's being tried and convicted, condemned by his own carelessness. A familiar scene repeated every day. She's being tried and convicted and doesn't even know it. She's condemned by her own carelessness. And now let's get down to the facts. What you are seeing is happening 475 times each day. 173,000 fires a year are caused by careless smoking and matches. He's being tried and convicted by his own carelessness. Condemned. This man lived in an apartment house. He's endangered not only his own life, but the lives of all the other residents of the building, and the lives of the firemen who must put out the fire and rescue those who are trapped. This is just one of the 475 fires that occur every day from carelessness. This elderly woman, because of someone else's carelessness, has now gone through the terrifying experience of facing smoke and flames. She is now safe in the arms of this fireman, but she may never recover from the mental horror of this night. Every fire represents a failure to correct a hazard, in some cases a human hazard. Fire can happen to you. Yes, you. Here's another free lesson for you, but for this man, there will be no second chance. He paid with his life for his carelessness. If you must smoke, don't smoke in bed. This seems like an ideal time to go to the store. The baby is safely asleep, and you'll be back in a few minutes, long before he's liable to waken. Sometimes it's almost impossible to take the baby with you when you have an armload of groceries. Besides, he's asleep, and nothing can possibly happen in a few minutes. Do you ever leave your child alone, even for a few minutes? What's that? Fire engines?
Oh, my God!
It's her house. Her baby is alone. This is not a major fire, but a tragedy of carelessness. Do you know that smoke is a combination of poison gases? Sometimes one breath can snuff out a life. This infant never had a chance. The child was not killed by the flames, but by the deadly smoke. More than 700 children left unattended die in fires each year. Yes, 700 children. Ever since man invented the match, parents have warned children that they must not play with them. Matches have a strange fascination, and children are curious and will play with anything they find. Forbidden things, it seems, are more interesting. At home, they mustn't touch matches, but here's a big supply, and no mother and father to say, stop. Matches, a forbidden prize to be examined, to watch as the tiny flame bursts into light. But flames seldom stay tiny very long. Children don't know this. And while the youngsters run in panic, the fire gains time to spread to porch and stairs. The flame from that single match is no longer tiny. The whole rear of the house is burning. Before the fire is discovered and the firemen speed to the scene, the delay has been costly, and they are now faced with a possible conflagration that will require all of their efforts and know-how. This fire destroyed a full city block, costing hundreds of thousands of dollars, leaving hundreds homeless, and destroying many personal family possessions. It has never been proved, but there is reason to believe that this massive fire was started by a child or children playing with matches. A staggering 70,000 fires are started each year by children playing with matches. That's right, 70,000 fires each year. This could be you, your home, your furniture, all destroyed by one tiny, insignificant match. Tiny, but never insignificant in the hands of a child. It is your responsibility to teach your children about the danger of matches and to keep matches out of their reach. Your fireman is trained to put out fires, also to prevent them. He's trained to spot fire hazards and to correct them. When the fireman visits you and your neighbors to help prevent fires, this is called in-service inspection. Isn't it comforting to see the fire engine at your front door and to realize that it was not summoned by the call of fire? His interest is your safety and future. Another familiar scene, mother ironing, daughter making cookies, an electric toaster or some other appliance, all connected to one electric outlet. An overloaded circuit is an invitation to a possible fire, another needless fire. People like you take their home heating system for granted unless something goes wrong. Do you know how to shut off your burner? Every system should have a remote control switch so that it can be turned off in an emergency. A faulty damper can cause a smoke-filled house. 200 fires a day are caused by heating equipment. 200 a day. Rubbish stored beneath a stairway can cut off your only means of escape in the event of fire. The home workbench doesn't always get the attention it deserves. Keep flammable liquids in proper containers. A fuse box is a safeguard, not a hazard. Do you know and use the correct size fuses? There are 450 electrical fires every day. Have you a power mower or snow blower? Gas tanks should never be filled indoors. Gasoline should never be kept in glass jars. Fireplaces are comfortable, charming, and fun, but they must be treated with respect. A screen in front of a fireplace is a must. Attics are traditional catch-alls, a place to store things you're always planning to use again but probably never will. Don't let your attic become a fire hazard. Clean it out. Improper wiring hanging between the rafters can be just as dangerous as a burning cigarette. A portable heater may feel comfortable in a bedroom, but be sure the heater stands in the clear, away from walls, bedding, and curtains. Another common mistake, the extension cord under the rug. Don't take a chance on short circuits. Put your fire department number on your telephone. When finished, your fireman will check over the list with you. Now, right now is the time to correct these hazards. Tomorrow may be too late. Have you ever sat down with your family and discussed fire in your home, or worked out a plan that could save their lives and yours if fire broke out? A large percentage of house fires occur between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. The average person, awakened from a sound sleep, tends to be a bit befuddled. If the awakening is caused by fire, even the calmest person could tend to panic. An escape plan could counteract this panic. Make it a game for the children. If possible, there should be at least 2 means of escape from every room. Be sure that everyone knows about both exits. Conduct regular fire drills in your home, so that in an emergency, the exit paths will be familiar. A good, solid door will hold back flames for minutes, minutes in which to flee. If the door is hot to the touch, or if smoke seeps in around the edges, don't open it. That's right, don't open it. Use your door as a safety device. If you cannot get out the door, then use the window. It is most important to impress upon everyone in the family that once they are safely outside, to gather in one appointed place and for all to stay there until released. All too often, a parent will find a child missing, and not knowing that the child has escaped safely, will return to the house to search and die in the flames. Fire is a comfortable servant. Discovery that fire would warm his body and cook his food, keep him dry, and protect him from darkness, man alone has learned to use and control fire. Man uses fire not only for warmth and comfort, but he has harnessed its power to subdue nature, to change the very face of the earth. He uses fire to soften some things, to harden others, to destroy rubbish, to control disease. Almost everything we use has come in contact with fire or the results of fire heat. He has conquered fire, made it his servant. But man must remember that to keep fire a valued servant, it must be properly cared for, guarded, and guarded against. A careless moment can turn this valuable servant into a treacherous enemy. Fire has a terrific appetite, and it cares not what it destroys. Man must control fire or be conquered by it. Don't give fire a place to start. Don't be found guilty without a trial. Don't be condemned.
Condemned. Yeah, so they didn't pull many punches, and I have several films like this. There's one, Our Obligation, that I will show you at some point. It's pretty intense. It's about a school on a fire, and it's meant to make school boards and PTAs and city councilors and commissioners, county commissioners, feel guilty about not building a new school. Basically because the old schools are fire traps. It has kids leaping to their death. It's over the top. It's really a wonderful film, but it is over the top. So here you go. Let's see, what do we got? Let's get some flying action.
It's flying action on the screen, the camera record of man's conquest of the skies. Through the magic of this pictorial record, we give you history written in the heavens, drama made in the clouds. It was back in 1903 that the pioneering Wright brothers, Orville and Wilbur, flew the first heavier-than-air machine above the sands of Kill Devil Hill at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Then came Blériot, flying his animated box kite across the English Channel. Fearless women like Ruth Law forced the coining of a new word, aviatrix. By the advent of World War I, the plane was not only a gadget, it was a weapon. Here's Eddie Rickenbacker and his famous Lafayette Escadrille, the hat-in-the-ring squadron which engaged in so many aerial combats with the black-nosed Richthofen squadron. Those early dogfighters were still a long way, however, from the fighting plane of today. It took General Billy Mitchell to show that planes could sink battleships. Bombs away and the battleship is sunk. But for many, the plane had still not proved itself. More pioneers were needed, and more pioneers were found, such as the daredevil pilots who were first to prove the male must go through on wings. There was the hero Lindbergh, who took his Spirit of St. Louis across the ocean to Paris non-stop. There were Will Rogers and Wiley Post, who lost their lives but who remained deathless heroes of the air. Amelia Earhart, who flew off into the wild blue yonder. Ruth Elder, a great woman pilot. Here's Ruth Nichols, another gal who proved that women rated wings. It was a risky business flying in those days, and sometimes fate demanded a sacrifice. Here's Gene Bales in his power-packed speedster, the GB, caught by the camera in an unforgettable shot as it breaks into flames above the airfield. Burning wreckage is his monument. And here is that great silver cigar called the Hindenburg, queen of the lighter-than-air fleet. A static spark ignites the hydrogen in her tanks, and in a few searing seconds, she crumbles to the ground, a charred and smoldering wreckage of a great liner of the air. Undaunted, men kept trying to fly, in gyros that take off and land on a bedsheet, in a strange helicopter that hovers, flies backwards, and lands on a dime. And there were stranger contraptions, too. Many a man with a high-flying imagination wound up with his face in the dirt. This pedal pusher was perfectly designed except for one little point. It couldn't fly. Here's a rocket bike with wings, or how to get a hot foot while sitting down. And here's a human glider. But it was in World War II that the plane really wrote history in the skies. First, the dread dive bombers. The Stukas peppered the ground with machine guns. Their screaming dives spearheaded the Axis drive across Europe until British planes and ack-ack drove them back. The plane became the carrier of those courageous parachutists who hit the silk. Here's the P-39 Air Cobra with a cannon in its nose. And the Tomahawk, the ship the Flying Tigers flew. Into the air went the Flying Fortress, the B-17, and its mate, the Liberator B-24, pressing home 1,000 plane attacks, but getting their bombs away while their wingmates were going down in flames. In the late stages of the European War came the Buzz Bomb, a 400-mile-an-hour pilotless plane that could only be caught and shot down by a jet interceptor. Off the drawing boards came great banana-shaped helicopters able to drop combat soldiers and supplies miles behind enemy lines. Bigger bombs required bigger bombers like this Intercontinental B-36 with 6-piston and 4-jet engines supplying a mighty thrust of power. In the very last days in Europe, we saw the jet fighters changing fighter tactics, assaulting the very barrier of sound itself. In the Pacific, it was still a carrier war. Corsairs and Hellcats launched from carrier decks, filled the sky, and scorched the enemy back to his homeland. His weapon of reply was kamikaze, the suicide plane attack pressed home at the cost of the plane and the pilot both. And what a toll the kamikazes took before the victory was won. The war over, aircraft development turned completely toward jets. Reaction thrust took planes up to 700 miles an hour. Jet fighters required jet interceptors. Among strange new experiments with the Northrop Flying Wing, a frightening vision of the future. And here's the hot new jet bomber, the B-47 Stratojet, with swept-back wings and speed near the sound barrier. And a landing speed so hot, a parachute had to be released to slow it down for the approach to Earth. Jets not being fast enough, the rocket was built into a plane and the XS-1 dropped from the bomb bay of a mothership straight through the sky at close to 1,500 miles an hour. As for the future, well, it looks like this. Giant rockets burning liquid oxygen and alcohol, maneuvered by electronic devices, point their noses into the sky, to other continents, other planets, who knows where, but always climbing through space to write another great chapter in the exciting history of flying action.
It's always more exciting when you yell it. So, they could have taken that approach of just them reading it, or kind of conversationally relaying it. But no, if you talk about it like this and you yell, it's great. and so exciting, and you're on edge because it's so great. There's flying action for you. I love it. And the music was also pretty intense too, so it's really a great deal of fun. Dabbled in the 70s a little bit, but didn't really get to a whole lot of 70s material. So this is, I'm trying to go through all the PSAs that I have without duplicating. There's going to be some overlap, but trying to come up with themes. And today's theme is, well, I showed like canned food commercials the other day. This one is public service announcements from the 70s that start with the letter N. So there you go. There's your theme. But I think these are ones, maybe I've shown some of these, maybe I haven't. I don't know. It's, you don't have to mention that if I've shown it. But yeah, here we go. Here's assorted 1970s PSAs that start with N.
There's a book every woman should read before she becomes pregnant.
It's free. Right Nutrition, Pueblo, Colorado, 81009.
This is a corner on Fifth Avenue in New York City, one of the busiest and noisiest in the world. In fact, most of the time you can't even hear yourself talk. To prove this, we recorded the sights and sounds of this corner in stop motion for 24 hours. Every time you see the needle go past the red mark, the noise level makes it impossible to carry on normal conversation. That's how it is in New York. But noise probably is doubling every decade in your town, too. What can you do about it? A lot. Start by writing for Noise Booklet, Post Office Box 901, Toledo, Ohio.
Night is the most dangerous time for pedestrians along streets and highways, so extra precaution is needed whether you're walking or driving. Spotting pedestrians at night is difficult, particularly when they wear dark clothing while walking along dimly lit streets. Carrying a light-reflecting article provides better visibility. To be on the safe side, walk facing traffic and wear light-colored clothing for quicker recognition by approaching drivers. At the factory, all headlamps are carefully aimed, but even with normal driving, they may need adjustment. This simple, inexpensive operation can be done at almost any automotive service center. To be a safer driver, have the aim of your headlamps checked at least twice a year.
Not everyone sees the world as you do. For many people, the world is a blur. Lines are not sharp. Signs are not clear. Even faces are not recognizable. The world could be clear and distinct for many if only they owned eyeglasses, but some people can't afford to buy glasses. You can help through a charitable organization called New Eyes for the Needy. This volunteer organization asks that you send them your old eyeglasses, broken watches, discarded jewelry, and silver. New Eyes redistributes the glasses to those in need, and by selling the jewelry and precious metal scrap, establishes optical funds in hospitals to buy new prescription glasses for the needy throughout the United States. Please look around your home and gather up the single earring, the bent silver fork, and the old glasses you no longer have any use for. Please send them to New Eyes for the Needy, Short Hills, New Jersey. Someone somewhere will see better because you did.
A campfire goes back as far as humans go. But some fires are for more than camping. These make steel and other things we could not do without. Industrial fires can be as friendly as campfires. During this National Engineers Week, it's a good time to think about how industrial fires and campfires are all part of the same environmental problem, a solvable problem.
I never thought my world could begin to look like this. I never thought moving through my world could suddenly be like this. But my doctor told me I have MS, multiple sclerosis, the great crippler of young adults. The impulses which activate my nerves are short-circuited. No one knows why. No one has a cure. So now I wait and hope that research will find the answer to MS. I'm not alone. I believe a cure will be found through the work of the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, people working together to help people with MS, and with your help to end MS. Of course you'd know that, if you were me. If you need help with MS, or if you would like to help fight MS, call this number free, 800-243-6000.
Less than 10% of all licensed drivers cause 20,000 traffic deaths a year. A sick few that get into an automobile and cause about 400 highway fatalities each week. They're problem drinkers. These aren't just social drinkers. They're drunkards who can hardly walk. So why let them drive? For further information, write Drunken Driver, P.O. Box 1969, Washington, D.C.
Every day we get up in the morning early.
I help blind kids see with their fingers. I help deaf kids hear with their hands. I'm a therapist. I guess you could say I'm pretty lucky, getting paid to put my talent to work helping other people. Well, it's not that simple. It took a lot of real effort to learn my job, but to me, it's worth it. There are more than 200 different careers in the health field. Some take years to learn, some just a few months. But for all of them, you need lots of patience, dedication, and love.
Health Careers. This booklet tells all about them. For your copy, write National Health Council, Box 40, Radio City Station, New York, 10019. Put your talent to work in the health field.
It's nice to relax and have a drink or two. But would you give up one of those drinks? Just one? And send us the money so we can help the 9 million alcoholics in this country before it's too late?
Morning, Bob. Morning, Lou. Freshen that for you? Yeah.
What we're really asking is, can you spare the price of a drink?
Every woman should.
So, yes, some of you were like, wait a minute, MS doesn't start with an N. Oh, well, the National MS Foundation does, and that's how they're named. So there you go. There's a bunch of national traffic, national this, national that. Yeah, I know, it was a hodgepodge, but want to try to go in and get all those PSAs out there, because there's fascinating stuff in there, definitely. Especially that that engineer, National Association of Professional Engineers, that basically was like, here's a campfire, and then there's industrial fires, which are important for what we do. And so, is this a jab at the environmental regulations that were placed on factories? Is that what that is? Kind of a weird thing. I'm not sure, but. I love watching these and kind of trying to suss out like what's going on here. Why was this? But anyways, thank you so much for tuning in today. We'll be back again tomorrow at 1 o'clock. If you like what you saw and you want to reward us in some way or punish us, you can buy us coffee here at this link at www.buymeacoffee.com/avgeeks. You can also tell the world that you like AVGeeks, and that helps. So hit like, subscribe. There's some sort of notification bell that you can ring on some of these social media things. And comment and share. That's part of it too. Is like to show them and see that you're watching them and interacting and lending your eyeballs and your brains to us ever so lightly. So we'll be back again tomorrow, as I said. And everybody have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon.